Africana, Chapter 7, written on the 22nd of July at 6 in the evening. It was late. The roadworks went on and on and on. We reached Old Farmhouse Lodge in the dark and got our tents up. Again, we had food prepared for us, a delicious plate of meatballs and salad. We sat and spoke to Patrick the driver, who is very funny and nice. We were super excited for the brownies and Amarula hot chocolate that this campsite was famous for, but after wandering for 20 minutes to find the bar, we were devastated to find they had no brownies. As promised though, the hot chocolates were excellent, and the bar was in a very cosy little hut. We stayed talking and huddled around the fire for a bit. Afterwards we returned to the truck and decided to clean the cooler, which smelled like onions and vomit. Everyone went to bed whilst I made use of the warm shower and long drop toilets, which were surprisingly clean and normal looking. Finally, it was the 20th, the last day of driving. It was a horrific 5 a.m. departure, but I didn't care anymore and was actually able to get a decent sleep on the coach, apart from a sudden brake launching me on top of Kira sat opposite. We drove a little through Mikumi National Park, seeing mainly giraffe and impala. The rest of the trip was pretty uneventful, apart from a stop at a women's prison and at a cafe to down a beer. After many hours, we approached Dar es Salaam. It was the first big city that we reached, and the people outside were excited to see all us white people, Mzungu. The traffic was ridiculous, but eventually we traversed the non-moving cars and reached our beachside camp. We set up our tent for the last time and headed straight to the beach to see the Indian Ocean for the first time as the sun set. Very beautiful campsite with a bar right on the beach and many hammocks and comfy chairs. Again, we were provided with dinner, this time a freaking beautiful curry. As this was our last night with everyone, we were ready to get pissed. We sat with the Danes, Kat and Kira, some of our faves, and played Pyramid as I finished off the Jack Tar rum. Sarah asked if we remembered when we spent our last night in Africa, sat away from everyone else. We didn't. Got a little bit too drunk again, but it was a very fun night. Me and Jess had a debrief on the beach, followed by sudden shock that the water was suddenly a mile away. Gian revealed her pet name for me of Delicate Flower, and then we all went to bed. I just completely passed out, not even in my sleeping bag. We had decided stupidly to wake early and see the sunrise. Jess woke me up and asked if I still wanted to, and I said sure. What time is it? It was 3 a.m. I had a tired rant to her about how we had another 3 hours. I got up at 5:30 with the help of Jess's 100 alarms and wandered down to the beach. It was dark, but I came across Gorka, then Ashley, and then Kat. We waited and waited until finally realising the sun would never rise again. I joined the group for breakfast, as did Jess and Ashley. However, the time approached when they were to leave for Zanzibar. Everyone I liked and the majority of people I didn't gave me a hug and said bye. We then watched as a convoy of tuk-tuks arrived and whisked them away to the ferry port. We then sorted out our bags and sat around till a taxi came to collect Ashley for the airport. So me and Jess essentially had the whole day to wait around for a flight. We went to the beach first and had egg on toast. We then continued to sit on every chair in the establishment, being followed by our trusty guard dog. We even took the long walk down to the ocean, which took ages, and decided to wait for the tide to return. We had vegetable curry for lunch and then sat around some more. There were cards, hammock time, and a French family with an hilarious dad. Jess had an awkward moment with the bar girl over change, so we waited for her to leave before getting dinner. We learnt Swahili, ate, and then went to the truck. We packed all our stuff and spoke to Patrick, who told us about his family and about life fixing the truck. We got him a supply of Fanta, his favourite, and then waited for our taxi. When it came, we had to chase the driver to the bar who told us it was open and to get in. As expected, the ride was crazy. The driver was on his phone whilst dodging cars and being all over the road. He stopped to top up his phone at one point, and we were scared people would try to get in. We got stuck in traffic at one point, but the driver assured us we'd be there for 8:30. He played conga music, which Jess loved, but we were both sleepy. We woke up at one point to him saying the traffic was bad and we'd take longer. I asked how long, and he said 10 p.m. We were like, oh shit, and started to worry. But then he took a turn off and we were there. The airport was small, but with loads of security. We had the moodiest check-in staff who completely ignored our questions, followed by the usual silent immigration officer. Departures was small, with crap Wi-Fi, expensive food, and people sleeping across multiple chairs. Strangely, there were a lot of white people. After ages, we were able to board the plane, and we both slept for the entire journey. So we awoke in Nairobi. Still very sleepy, so stumbled through and had 10,000 forms to fill in. After getting our last visa, we left the airport and immediately met Jess's uncle, Bharat, and his driver, Jeffrey. It was unusual driving through Nairobi, as it was the most developed place we had been so far. We arrived at Hasu's apartment, who is a close friend of Bharat. I was in absolute shock, Africa, at how fancy the place was, and spent 5 minutes stroking the walls. I climbed into bed and almost died at how comfy it was, but fell asleep instead. Terrifying wake up, having no clue where I was, but then remembered it was just heaven. Had a male grooming session and hit the Wi-Fi hardcore. Eventually got up and had traditional Indian breakfast of dokra, weird couscous cake thing, jevdol, oriental cracker mix, and lots of fruit. After unloading tank full of washing, we set off for lunch of maruna bhajia, fried battered potato slices with salsa, and grapefruit juice, grapefruit juice, both of which were great. Bharat then took us to his office, which was an incredible oval building that overlooked Nairobi. We took a 15-minute walk to the local mall and back again for coffee at the Arts Cafe. We met 2 friends of Bharat and also had this amazing cake of white and milk chocolate with a sponge base. It was then a short drive back home again to rinse the Wi-Fi. We sat on the sofa whilst Bharat slept in a phone-using position. Hasu arrived home, so we finally met him, and we got ready for dinner that evening, which was being prepared by the lovely maid called Margaret. Excited for more good food.